Hi, you're watching Floyd Steinberg's YouTube channel. It's been a year since I bought my Montage M8X, and as we all know, that is one of the more expensive synths you can buy. So I thought I'd share my 1-year impressions. Was it a good idea to buy this? What's great? And are there things that I would have expected to work better? And most importantly, did I sell all my other synths because the Montage M8X is so powerful? If you're interested in the answers to this, please join me in this video. Here we go. And of course, no synth is worth its money if it doesn't sound good, and in order to make my point that this is a particular good sounding synthesizer, I've picked this tutorial by Hazel Mills, in which she explains how to create an epic brass sound on the UDO Super 6, which I think we can all agree is a pretty great sounding analog hybrid synthesizer. So I'll follow this tutorial step by step and then we'll compare the results.
How to make this epic brass pad on the Super 6 in 6 easy steps, starting with an init patch. To get to your init patch, hold shift and hit manual.
On the Montage, that's pressing the category button, then pressing the init button, and then you can see we can select init patches for all the different engines here. I'm going to use ANX.
Step 1. Turn up the release of envelope 2 to about 60% and the attack to 30.
Okay, that's on the left hand side of the synth. Press the amplitude button and we don't use the sliders, we use the wheels here. So the first one is 60%, so that's roughly 80 here. And release 60%, which is roughly 160 here.
Step 2. Shape envelope 1 like this.
Okay, that's envelope 2, so go here to filter, then to filter envelope, and yeah, show generous amount of attack, generous amount of decay, sustain a little bit above the 50% line, and a long release obviously.
Modulate the filter with it.
Okay, that's filter depth, so we're going to use this here, and then we also need to turn down the first filter to a very low setting, like this.
Step 3. Modulate the pitch slightly.
Okay, pitch modulation is on this page, then go here, and yeah, let's modulate this a bit.
Step 4. Dial in DDS2 and slightly detune.
Okay, so this synth has 3 oscillators, so instead of using DDS, we'll just use the second oscillator here and slightly detune it.
Step 5. Detune your oscillators.
And here we'll bring in the third oscillator, once again set this to saw wave and slightly detune it the other way.
And finally, step 6. Whack on the chorus.
Okay, whack on the chorus, she says, so let's do that. So, there it is. There's one more thing I'd like to do here on this synth, so let's go to the ANX settings in the main menu and then turn on unison mode. And then let's add some detuning, stereo spread, voltage drift and aging. Right, let's listen to this. And of course, I've added polyphonic aftertouch to this. So there you have it. This is a seriously good sounding synthesizer. We also have to talk about the hardware. Of course, having this nice 88 keys weighted keyboard is fantastic. The keys are very firm, and I think they're even better than the actual Yamaha U1 acoustic piano that I own downstairs. Also, the layout of the synthesizer is great. Having that secondary screen on the left side that is set up in such a way that each of the faders and encoders can always have a label and an explanation is really easy to grasp. You always know what each fader and encoder and knob that is adjacent to the screen will do. The secondary screen is mainly used for designing sounds, and it's really helpful. So getting around on the synthesizer is nearly as quick as on a one knob to one function synthesizer. Build quality is very good indeed. This thing is built like a tank. It's very heavy obviously because this is the 88 keys version. I know the smaller models are much lighter than this one. The Montage also is a very inspiring synth, because it comes with so many preset patches that you'll take years to listen to them all. And of course they are made by the best sound designers in the world, so browsing sounds often will lead you to ideas for new songs or pieces of music in general. And of course it helps that there are 3 engines that can be stacked and mixed as needed. The M8X comes with an internal sequencer that's quite complex. You can use it to create songs based on patterns. The only thing I have to criticize here is there is no step sequencer, so for people who'd like to enter a song step by step, it's not possible. That's a big oversight. I think they should fix that within the next firmware patch. So if anyone from Yamaha is watching here by chance, that would be really nice. Creating performances, that is a collection of multi-timbre sounds, is quite easy on this synth. There are 16 slots that you can fill up with your patches, and then you can assign MIDI channels and splits on the keyboard, whatever you want. And you're not only limited to these 16 slots, because each patch can contain as many voices as you like, so there is literally no limit for creating your sounds here. The only thing that I'd like to criticize here is the way this works within the context of a multi-track song in your DAW. If you're working on a performance and you add, for example, a patch that has 3 elements that occupies 3 slots in your performance, and then you want to remove that patch again, you have to go in there and remove each element individually, which isn't very elegant in its solution. So it would be better if the Montage memorized, okay, this was one patch that consisted of these 3 slots, and if the user removes this, then I will also remove the 3 slots from the overall performance again. Working with performances and trying to change them once you've created them is a bit awkward. The synth engines on the Montage are absolutely phenomenal sounding, and there are so many possibilities here, especially on Yamaha's trademark AWM sound engine, which is sample based. You can easily stack voice upon voice for really complex patches there, and then you can add the ANX engine and the FMX engine into it as well, creating yet unheard patches. So I'll show you some examples in a few seconds. The only thing I'd wish for is a more complete mod matrix in the Montage, so you can assign sources and destinations there, as you know from other synthesizers. But for example, in the analog engine, you can't assign an envelope to individual oscillators. So if you want, for example, create a sound that begins with a sine wave and then slowly fades in a saw wave on the second oscillator, that's not possible at the moment unless you use the motion sequencer. But the motion sequencer is limited in such a way that it can't be started on an individual key press. It will run continuously in the background, and when you hit a key, the envelope of the motion sequencer will start exactly where the motion sequencer was working in that moment that you press the key. It can't be attached to an individual key press, so there is no chance that you can create more complex sounds on the virtual analog engine. That does not apply for the AW2 engine and not for the FMX engine, obviously, but there I'd like to have more phases in the envelopes. So you have the traditional ADSR envelopes here, and on the older Yamaha EX5, for example, there were more phases in the envelopes, so you could, for example, swasendo sounds, so a quick shot of a trumpet, then fading away quickly and then swelling again slowly. It's not possible in this way on the Montage. You have to find workarounds for this, and I'd like this to be less complicated. So yeah, what's my conclusion here overall after 1 year? The Montage is one of the best synthesizers I've ever owned, and of course I did sell some of the hardware I had here. I won't tell you exactly what I sold because I don't want to stir anger of the fans of these instruments, but this replaced quite a lot of the synthesizers I previously had here. So yes, it does replace a lot of synthesizers, and it does so easily because it's really great sounding. I wish it had a better sequencer, a more capable sequencer in there. While you can record audio tracks into the Montage directly, you can't edit the samples at all on machine. And I think that's a big oversight that should be fixed in one of the following firmware updates that hopefully will come out someday before the next model hits the market. And I really like to have a more complete modulation matrix, as I said previously. So at the moment, in my home studio, I'm using this in conjunction with MPC-1, which will do the sequencing and audio recording and sample editing. As it is now at the moment, that's my go-to combination of hardware that I write songs on or make music on. And I usually finish the music on these two devices and then only download the result to my computer for a little bit more of mixing and mastering before I then put my music online. But it's a great synth. I think one time in your life you should just buy such an expensive thing. It's a nice thing to have. that's it for today. Yamaha's flagship synth, the Montage M8X. As you've probably guessed, I didn't regret purchasing this thing at all. It's a fantastic synthesizer to own, and indeed it can replace a lot of the hardware or software you already use. I hope that Yamaha will continue support for some years to come. Especially the sampler seems a little bit undercooked to me, and having a step sequencer within the internal sequencer would really help. I can live with some of the nitpicks I've shown in this video, but perhaps they should come up with a better solution on the next model. All in all, the MPC and Montage combo is my happy place, so to speak. It's so easy to get lost in music. So yeah, if you think this was an interesting YouTube video, please do the YouTube thing. And you can also support this channel on Patreon or become a member with the button under this video. And if you want to listen to some music I made with the hardware I discussed today, you can do so on Spotify, Apple Music and Bandcamp. I'll post a link under this video. But of course, none of this is mandatory. As always, thanks for watching and see you again next week. Bye bye.